Well, hello there, everybody. It's Mr. E here, and I hit a little bit of a southern twang on the intro, so I guess we're just going with it. Welcome to the Veteran Compilation. This is 5 of my absolute finest veteran builds from all of 2025, and I've got a little bit something here for all folks, regardless of your stripes or walks of life you're coming from. We've, of course, got the Meta Veteran for those of you who chase the strongest possible builds with the Power Sword and the Plasma Gun and whatnot, but I've also got grenade chucking builds, I've got unlimited laser pistol builds, I've got melee builds, and I've got builds for those of you who prefer to be the team leader and lead from a supporting role. All of this bundled up into one video, so if you enjoy this sort of content and you want to see more builds in the future, go ahead and subscribe and like down below and leave a comment and let me know what you want to see out the channel next. I appreciate you for your support, folks, and let's giddy up, partner. Here we have the support veteran, and this, guys, is my favorite veteran build right now. I love playing veteran like this. I really certainly hope they add more supportive skills to veteran in the future, because I think it is a role, the sort of the team leader slash support, that the veteran fits very well in, and they have done a great service of this character by really buffing up a lot of these skills that in turn buff up the whole team. And so this build really leans heavily into augmenting our team in every way possible, plus going very light on resource consumption ourselves so that they can all have as much as they possibly want. So we'll start off here with our melee weapon, which will be the Shock Maul. The reason we want the Shock Maul is the Shock Maul is an amazing setup for tons and tons of other characters on the team. The Skull Crusher blessing on this weapon, which is one of the 2 blessings you want to take. You want to take high voltage and the Skull Crusher there. The Skull Crusher blessing allows you to increase the damage taken by any target that is staggered by your attacks or by any effect. So if you go in on a boss and you start wailing on them and hitting them with this weapon, and then you shout, you'll stagger the boss, and then for the remainder of the duration of the stagger, this boss will take a bunch of extra damage. And you can even use this in tandem with your own grenades to cause them to just take a big blast. This weapon also demolishes captain shields. So if you're playing into Havoc, you're going to encounter a ton of captains, the twins, etc. And this weapon will break their shields in record time, and it'll set your team up to just completely give them the beatdown, give them the smackdown before they can ever really mount a return to form. So really good weapon. And that's what we want to use when we're at close range. Don't forget also to use that shock prod effect. If you've got crushers or bulwarks who are coming in and getting in your face or getting in your team's face, run up there and shove that into their sternum and give them the old tase. That'll open up bulwarks. It'll stop crushers in their tracks. And of course, you know, you're always safe. As long as you got your gold or your shout, you are not in any danger yourself. For the range weapon, we want the Recon Las Gun. Very effective, ammo efficient range weapon here. We want Infernus and Dum Dum as far as our blessings here. Our perks are Critical Chance and Flak Armor. We want to use this to be picking as many specials as fast as possible. That is our goal with this part of the team, or our contribution as far as killing, is to remove specials and gunners at range before they can pose a big threat to our team. So that is what you should be on the lookout and scanning for, plus hurling those grenades, which we'll talk about grenades in a second, at all the priority heavy targets such as bosses and crushers, etc. And this gun is really excellent at picking tons of specials. It also does very solid boss damage, so we can really just kind of plink away at a boss, take very little ammo in doing so because of the inherent ammo efficiency of these Recon Las guns, and we will melt the boss with that Infernus stacks plus our focus target. For Curios, we want to take all toughness here. We are a sort of a baseline. We're not moving a whole lot, so we're just walking around the map. We want maximum available combat ability regen and revive speed. You could take some other stats such as bomber damage resist to better withstand fire or gas, or you could go with some more stamina regeneration or whatever else you feel like you might need. I tend to find that resists are pretty good on a build like this because, yeah, I mean, we aren't exactly a zip-zooming character with, you know, our Shock Maul. The Recon Las Gun will be the weapon you use to run around the map because it is quite fast. For talents, we come straight down the middle here with Confirm Kill, Covering Fire, Close Order Drill, Crack Grenade. Covering Fire, by the way, what we want to be doing is shooting at
enemies near our allies, picking off weakened enemies for them or just outright killing enemies within their range. It replenishes toughness and gives them 15% base damage for 6 seconds. That is absolutely massive. It doesn't apply to us, but it applies to all our allies, which is a huge, huge damage buff. 15% base is based. Down here, down here we have Field Improv, which is going to replenish more health or health faster out of med packs, cleanse corruption, and it gives grenades back from ammo crates. So remember that it will always replenish, well, full grenades on any non-havoc game mode, but it will replenish 40% of your grenade count rounded up when you're playing on havoc. So if you have 4 grenades available, say you got a hive scum with 4 rockets, that's 2 free rockets when he taps this, and so it's immensely valuable to bring this for the team these days. We come down here, go Catch a Breath and Survivalist, again printing free ammo for the whole team. If you've already got another veteran on the team, you are welcome to go for Fire Team. I think that'd be the second best bet there. We want to take all 3 grenade perks because grenades are excellent and they're an easy and free way to contribute massive amounts of damage with very little point investment. Voice of Command, of course, with Duty and Honor, so we can, win the game. Over here on the left, we'll take Marksman, Precision Strikes, Fully Loaded, Stamina Regeneration Boost, and then Shock Trooper, so that our crit hits with our Recon Lasgun are consuming 0 ammo. And we will come over here on this right side, grab this melee damage boost, and then Reciprocity to boost that effect. We'll have 25% additional crit chance if we're dodging, which is pretty easy to do. Just dodge back and forth when you're shooting your Recon Lasgun and stuff will miss you left and right, and that'll give you essentially 25% free ammo. Over here, we're going to go in the center and take both Born Leader and Demolition Team. Demolition Team printing tons and tons of free grenade. 5% of all elites and specials killed by anybody within coherency is going to be contributed to us as grenades. And that is where Born Leader comes in. Allies in coherency replenish 20% of any toughness that you replenish. So your coherency radius is also raised by 50% by this talent. So what that means is a larger radius around you where your allies can be sending you grenades through the mail through Demolition Team, which seems very illegal to me. And also, it extends the radius at which Voice of Command will actually give allies the buff. So you can be very far away from your allies with this buff and still give them that gold buff and save them from bad situations. So a very valuable buff, plus of course that 20% contribution, which means a talent like Catch a Breath, that's giving everybody on the team 1% toughness per second, always, just for existing. Isn't that cool? Plus, all the other toughness you replenish. Tactical awareness here, of course, then toughness boost, bring it down, and focus target with both these nodes, focused fire and redirect fire. That means that every time we focus a target and then knock them out, we give that target an additional 30% damage taken, and then when they die, our whole team is going to get 15% damage, which is actually quite tremendous for the next 10 seconds. So be certain you are stacking up those 6 stacks of focus target and then dumping it on a target and picking them off and then rinse and repeating, especially when you're going on bosses, to get that extra damage boost. And that's the little build, guys. I love playing this one. It is super fun to be contributing and know that the reason your team is clearing situations with such ease is because you are facilitating it, because you're boosting their damage numbers, because you're keeping them alive. It feels great to contribute in a sort of a soft-spoken way. I hope you enjoy it. There he is. Back. Okay. To get away from those shotgun resist purples. Oh, that's a good idea. There. You, Captain Shields, you're done. You're done.
Ammunition! Assemble! Hit the enemy! Having seen you shoot, I'm inclined to agree.
I appreciate your efforts to Darktide. Acceptable.
Oh no, the recon lasgun's pretty damn close to meta. My tips would be just don't try to kill anything that's metal with them. And make use of the Infernus blessing. It's one of the best blessings. And if you can scale, oh my god, if you can scale the flame damage in some way, it's great. It's definitely a better veteran weapon than it is anybody else. Then it's Psyker, then it's in terms of usability. Oh god. Oh, the fact that you can shout while you're prodding now is amazing. Oh, yeah, that's close. I wish I could run my strip down on this, but I think it's probably better that I don't. We haven't seen a whole lot of purple enemies. That's been very blessed for us. I feel like they could have definitely been inundating us with way more purples at this point. None of these enemies get to do anything. Stand still. 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 Hey TK, it's a good match. I enjoy it. You know, I knew you guys would be excited about it. I've known for like a month and a half now this what was coming, and yeah, their silence on the issue was unfortunately making people pretty doomery about like whether or not this is going to be a good update or a nothing update. I just had to bite my tongue and be like, oh yeah, you guys are gonna like it. It's like if you play Darktide, this is a great update for you. You're already playing. It's not like the update that's gonna bring most people back to the game, because, or like, maybe they'll bring people back, but it won't bring people in like RPGs do, because it's nothing really new. But if you've been playing and you're like, I'm just bored of where it's at, this is great. It's a bunch of new stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're not interested in like building a new class and like experimenting how like weapons work on a class you used before, yeah, for some people that's, for me that's like, oh, I couldn't resist. But if you're like really detached from it, like in the way that I don't think about like Vermintide 2 anymore. I used to play the game all the time. If you told me there was a class rework back in the day, I'd be like, oh hell yeah, when can I get into a beta? If you told me that now, I'd be like, oh, I don't care. So it's like, you have to like sustain a certain level of involvement for them to care about a patch like this. And that's what I intend to like hopefully do, is like keep people interested in the game, even when there's like not a whole lot going on. Damn, what just hit that boy for like a 50 million damage? That's good. Ah. Guys, I think I really dislike playing Veteran these days because this is another fabulous build. This is Infinite Las Pistol. The Heavy Las Pistol Mark II is an absolutely excellent weapon. This build is all focused around just making it go as hard as possible. And seriously, you will put up Psyker level damage numbers with this thing and consume Psyker levels of resources as well because this thing is super ammo efficient. Now we're going to start off here with the Combat Blade, the Katachan Mark VI. The reason we're taking this Combat Blade is just a quality weapon all around. We want to be able to fend off occasional small targets that get in close to us, and it's very, very fast as well. This is a very fast moving weapon, and this will allow us to kite back and get away from enemies occasionally. But yeah, you won't really need to pull this out a whole lot because our main bread and butter, and let's go ahead and break it down here, Unyielding, Carapace, Riposte, and Uncanny Strike as far as blessings and perks here. But whatever melee weapon you want to use honestly is quite fine here. You should be spending 90% of your time on this weapon here anyway. The Heavy Las Pistol Mark II. The other mark is not good with this, by the way. We want to dump stability. Every other stat maxed out. Stability should be at 60 because stability does not affect the sway or aim pattern of this weapon at all because this thing, for some reason, has 0 recoil. The perks here are range critical strike chance increased by 5% and 25% damage to unyielding, and your blessings are Infernus and Desperado. So what the purpose of this weapon is to shoot super duper fast and get lots of crits. So as you can see here, this weapon has a base of additional 5% crit there, and then we're going to gain another 20% on successful dodge from Desperado, so we can get 25% off this weapon alone. Look what happens when you get a crit with this weapon, by the way. A headshot or a critical on a flak armored enemy is more than triple damage, and if you get a crit and hit them in the headshot, that is quadruple damage. That's more than quadruple damage. So that's insane. Bosses are taking pentuple damage. So yeah, this weapon will like 1 or 2 shot reapers, which is silly, and it's going to crit. You are going to crit with this. So we're at 25% crit. Keep a track on that. For curios, we want to take 2 toughness curios with our combat ability regen, and stamina regen is very important on this build. Stamina regen all the way, and then revive speed. And then the third curio should be 3 max stamina with revive speed, stamina regen, and combat ability regen as well. The reason we want stamina and stamina regen is because we are going to be consuming stamina by aiming down sight with this weapon. Let's go over here to the talents and check out exactly what devious stuff we are doing. We are taking confirm kill at the top, then going long shot for additional range damage, into close order drill, then crack grenades here. The one enemy that this weapon cannot deal with is crushers. It can still hurt them like a little bit, but crushers, you just don't want to be wasting your ammo on them. Just throw some cracks at them and be done with it. We come down here and take Superiority Complex, Iron Will, Field Improv, then Opening Salvo. The first 20% ammo has 10% range crit chance. So we are at, if you're counting off the top of your head, 5% for the base veteran, 5% off of the weapon, 20% for the gun itself. So we're at 30%. This will push us to 40% for the first 20% ammo. Catch a breath down here. Then we go Survivalist. Then we take Demolition Stockpile and come and grab Voice of Command and Duty and Honor, which you're going to see over and over again, guys. Sorry. Over here on the left side, we're going to take Range Damage Boost, then go Precision Strikes and Dead Shot. 25% crit chance and 60% sway reduction while we are holding down, aiming down sight. So now we are at 65% crit. We come down here and go fully loaded, and this is why you want that stamina regen and more max stamina, right? Then we go Stamina Regeneration Boost. Then Shock Trooper, which means that we are getting free ammo at least 65% of the time so far. Then Kill Zone, which is base range damage. Marksman's Focus here is going to give us Finesse, which is a multiplier to headshot and critical damage, stacking up to 15 times, which is like 115% finesse. So our critical shots that were previously doing pentuple damage are now doing dectuple, 10 times damage, more or less. Tunnel vision here is absolutely essential because this is going to make our toughness replenishment much higher. We are going to be sustaining more toughness all the time, and also, perhaps even more importantly, we are going to get 10% stamina back for every headshot kill. So that means that we can just shoot at hordes with our pistol and get our stamina back even when we're draining it by using Deadshot. Here in the middle, we go Demolition Team and then Tactical Awareness, so we can print tons and tons of grenades. And then over here on the right is 15% melee damage, Duck and Dive, which can replenish 30% stamina every time you dodge and attack. So when you're facing down gunners, just dodge left and right, and you'll get big chunks of your stamina back and be able to aim down sight and get more crits. And then we grab Reciprocity, which also encourages us to dodge, and that gives us another 25% crit, which puts our 65% crit up to 90% crit if we are dodging frequently. And then when you're at 90% crit, you can have a single zealot on your team who can bring the 10% crit talent that's under the Blazing Piety keystone, and that will put you at 100. You can also bring a Psyker with a 5% crit aura, and you can bring a Hive Scum with a 5% crit aura for a total of 110% crit. And then even if certain buffs fall off, you are still at or over 100% crit, and you can shoot free ammo and do bajillion damage all day, every day. So if you think that this sounds insane and you want to see exactly how insane it is, watch some of this gameplay right here.
Fine.
Very good.
Oh shit, crap. Can't see, so I'm just shooting it where the lasers are coming from.
I have to reload.
crit. Oh boy.
Alright, for those of you who love exploding your enemies, who really want to abuse perhaps the most egregious part of a veteran right now, which is just throwing dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of crack grenades, of grenades in general, every single game, I have the build for you. That is the Grenadier Vet with, I love this. I actually really love this. This sort of, this is actually like one of the in-game cosmetics, isn't it? You don't have to pay for this at all. Looks super cool. I love this, like, long trench coat shit. We are taking the Power Sword here. The Power Sword is just a very quality all-rounder weapon. We are primarily going to be a melee fighter when we are not hurling grenades, because our ranged weapon is going to be devoted to the bolt pistol here, which is going to give us additional radius for our grenades. That is the primary focus. You could swap this out with something, especially if you're going for crack grenades. It might not be the most necessary, but I find myself really leaning into the power of the power of the Power Sword. Just such a solid weapon, and we do have the stats to make it work here. So go Carapace and Crit Chance for your perks, then Brutal Momentum and Power Cycler as your blessings with minimum mobility. For the Bolt Pistol here, the reason we're choosing the Bolt Pistol is because this thing is very good at boosting grenades. It has this this blessing called Lethal Proximity, which increases the explosion radius of grenades whether or not you are currently holding the weapon, whether or not you're currently holding the bolt pistol at all. It just needs to be in your inventory and equipped to your character. You get 25% of explosion radius. So that will make your frag grenades have a much larger AoE. It'll make your crack grenades be able to knock back and hurt enemies from farther away, perhaps even killing them. And yeah, it's really, really good. Then we can take Deadly Accurate here, which will give us a massive, massive boost to critical weak spot damage. We do have quite a high crit rate here, although there could be an argument made to just put bleeds or some other effect on this as well. That, as I said, not super important because we are not using this except for to pick the occasional special, and everything else we're just hucking grenades at and stabbing with our sword. For our curios down here, triple toughness. We are a slow moving motherfucker. Neither one of these weapons is particularly speedy, so just walk around the map and chuck grenades. We want triple combat ability regeneration, triple revive speed, and then the last one is your choice. There might be a good to go gunner damage resist or bomber damage resist on this build because we are quite slow and not able to dodge too much. For talents, we come straight down the middle here because this is all going to sort of buff up our stuff in one way or another. Covering Fire is just a great talent to help our allies. You could, if you're feeling particularly selfish and you don't give a fuck about helping our allies, we could go for one motion for a little bit more weapon swap speed, but I don't think it's particularly necessary. Then Close Order Drill into crack grenades. These are the default grenades I think you should be using the build, especially if you're pushing for havoc. A lot of the threatening enemies that will end games are going to be countered by these crack grenades, so Crushers and Bulwarks and Rager and Mauler armies will be spawned upon you, and you need to delete them with the cracks. Shredders are good too, but I feel like at this point in the game, Generally, you have other people on your team who can deal with all the light enemies that shredders can deal with. Cracks are the perfect counter to immense armies of just metal and metal and metal, and they can dunk on bosses as well. We'll come down here and grab Superiority Complex, Iron Will, then Field Improv, because this can replenish grenades as well from the kit, and then we are going to go Catch Your Breath, Fire Team, or Survivalist. I was playing with another veteran on my team, so I grabbed the Fire Team because he had Survivalist, but both of them are very good here. You'll probably want at least one Survivalist on your team somewhere. Then all 3 of the grenade perks, of course. We'll come down here and grab Voice of Command and Duty and Honor. Then we'll go on the right and grab the Melee Damage Boost, Reciprocity, Desperado, and then both Skirmisher and Exploit Weakness with this Toughness boost node. What this allows us to do is boost our base damage, which increases the damage of our grenades whenever we are sprinting and or sliding, and then Exploit Weakness will increase our damage whenever we get a crit of any sort for 6 seconds by 20%, which is big, which also applies to the grenades. So this build is quite boosting of that damage, and that is going to really spill over when we're DPSing bosses with them, because we can get all these boosts together and then make the boss take extra damage as well. This toughness boost also pushes our toughness to some really high numbers, which is quite quality. We are very tanky on this build. Then we'll come over here and grab Demolition Team, absolutely essential because it's going to replenish a ton of grenades, and of course Born Leader, which will increase the radius at which our shout will affect our allies, and it will also increase the radius at which our allies can send us grenades. And then Tactical Awareness, down here to Toughness Boost, bring it down, and then finally Focus Target with both Focused Fire and Redirect Fire. So when you see a boss spawn in, simply just tag them up with this and then chuck grenades at their face, and they will go bye-bye because they are taking 30% additional damage, and if you have all this ticking, you have about 45% additional damage, and then you can stack a billion other damage buffs on there as well and just delete them from existence. So as you'll see in the gameplay here, I am just hucking grenades left, right, and center. A great pairing for this is to have a Hive Scum with you, because Hive Scums, they love to pick up free grenades, and so producing ammo crates that can give them grenades, whereas you really generally don't need to pick up grenades, means that they can just have an absolute buffet for these things and destroy the entire map. So a great little pairing together. And I hope you enjoy watching me do some absolutely egregious war crimes.
Another nade right here. Another nade right here. Christian.
Now here's a build that makes the veteran a melee-focused character. However, this is only for the most experienced of you out there. If you are attempting Havoc with it, I'd recommend one of the other builds because they flex the true power of the veteran much better, which is just shouting incessantly and shooting everything at range and throwing grenades. This is instead focusing on the fact that the veteran actually has very solid melee damage, and we are leaning into that prowess quite heavily. So if you enjoy melee fighting and you really enjoy the power sword, which is a really good weapon with this build, then you'll probably like this one. We're going to start out with the power sword, which is going to have low mobility. We want to take carapace and melee crit chance here because crits are quite nice here, and this will enable us to get extra damage in the build. Blessings are brutal momentum and power cycler. Then for our range weapon, we will take the quick draw stub revolver. That is because this revolver is very, very snappy to pull out, and its only downside is that it takes a little while to reload. This is our counter to specials as well as crushers and very heavy high health elites. Because we've got these blessings and perks, we're going to be putting mobility as low as possible, and then perks are carapace and unyielding here. For blessings, surgical and hand cannon. That says that if you get a critical hit, you get 60% rending, meaning basically 60% of the damage that the gun would have done is dealt as true damage, ignoring enemy armor, which is very, very handy because crushers have a ton of freaking armor. So that will be good to just plink these guys. Even if you don't kill them on the first shot or even on the second shot, you'll take a bunch of their health away and you can finish them off with your melee. For your curios, just take triple toughness here with generally you'll want some stamina regeneration, combat ability regeneration, and then revive speed for allies. I think are the best 3 in the game right now. Over here in the talents, this is a quite tanky build because we are a melee character. We want to be in there bruising it up. We want to be, going fisticuff style. So we are going to take both exhilarating takedown, confirm kill, and out for blood here, giving us toughness regeneration from a myriad of sources. Not only will we get it from every time we kill elites or specialists, and just from every kill in general, but we'll also get it from getting range weak spots, and this will also give us toughness damage reduction. So we are quite tanky. We're kind of a frontliner. One motion here will allow us to swap back and forth between our range weapon and our melee weapon very quickly, which allows us to snap off free shots and keep those buffs ticking. Then crack grenades to counter, bosses and high health crusher packs and stuff like that, because you just don't want to deal with them half the time. Superiority complex, Iron Will, and then Trench Fighter Drill over here. Now here is where your choice comes in. If you like Serrated Blade can be quite nice. It can stack up some damage, but you have another good option here in field improv. Field improv is really good to support the team, and yeah, you wouldn't be at all disliked if you brought this for your allies, but you definitely want to take this 10% melee attack speed. Then we come here and take Catch a Breath and then Survivalist, because we do need to sustain a little bit of ammo. Demolition Stockpile with just Grenade Tinkerer here. We aren't overly concerned about having a million grenades, so Grenadier can go by the wayside this time. We'll take Voice of Command with Duty and Honor. Man, that seems like a trend, doesn't it? Then over here on the left, we'll take Range Damage Boost and then Weak Spot Damage, which applies to both ranged and melee. In the center, we will take Demolition Team and Tactical Awareness, because these are, you know, just required talents. And then over here, the melee damage boost, 15% for a minor node, not bad. Reciprocity, which will boost our crit chance about 25%. Desperado, which boosts our melee crit chance another 10% and gives us 25% melee finesse bonus. Then Agile Engagement. And here is where we're going to start to be really incentivized to swap back and forth between our ranged and melee weapon quite often. Is we will get 25% damage boost whenever we kill an enemy with a melee attack to our ranged attacks, and then vice versa. So range kills will give us melee damage boost. So every 6 seconds, swap to your range weapon and pop someone with the revolver, and then swap back and go to town for the next 6 seconds with your melee, and vice versa. Then Skirmisher is another 25% base damage when we are sprinting around, which we'll do quite often with our, you know, being melee and all. We need to sprint a lot of places. Then we'll take Exploit Weakness, and this is why we had crits on our melee weapon, on our power sword, is so that we can get these crits, so we can get a guaranteed crit every so often and get Exploit Weakness to trigger and give us 20% damage to all of our stuff, which is great. And then finally, we'll go Weapon Specialist. Weapon Specialist, it really encourages us to swap back and forth between our ranged and our melee. When you swap to your melee from getting a ranged kill, you'll get 15% attack speed and 10% dodge speed and dodge distance. And when you swap over to your range weapon from getting melee kills, you actually are stacking up crit chance as you are getting those melee kills. So if you get 3 melee kills, you have a guaranteed crit when you swap to your range weapon for that first shot. So that first revolver shot is going to do a ton of damage to a crusher. So just make certain that you are you know, counting those kills and then using that whenever possible. And then also, always prepared here is very, very valuable for us. What it allows us to do is stack up free ammo. Basically, it replenishes ammo from our magazine or from our reservoir into our magazine, so we don't actually have to reload our revolver. We can keep our revolver full by just getting a kill in melee, then swapping to the range weapon, and then shooting that shot, and then switching back. So you never really have to reload. You'll always have one or perhaps even more shots in the revolver, as long as you're getting kills and swapping and letting it refill for you. So there's the build. This one is a little bit of a niche thing, but I thought I'd throw it in because it's a very different play style than the rest, and I hope you enjoy watching me play some of it. I hope you enjoy playing it yourself.
What do you think I'm trying to do? See, it could be useful, Senator.
Greatest reward shall be righteousness.
Very professional. Now, hold the train.
I wasn't close enough to any of you for that. I was trying to get in the minute.
Is it functioning? Yes, I think so.
And this is the meta veteran, guys. This is just the way to play veteran right now. Probably the most powerful all-rounder build. If you are trying to impress your friends, if you're trying to climb havoc, I would really recommend a build like this. It is very strong, it is very stable. It uses pretty much all the most powerful stuff you could use on the class, and it's unabashedly powerful. I don't think you'll have any complaints from your team, as long as you have the skills to pay the bills, of course. But it doesn't really take much skills to maneuver with these weapons because they are so powerful, and the talents within are as well. So we'll start out here with the power sword, although if you don't like playing with the power sword, if it's not your style to constantly be powering this thing up and resetting it, you can also, of course, use the dueling sword with uncanny strike and thrust here. Another really great option for you. I would say both of these two here are your primary options for that. For the power sword, you want to go brutal momentum power cycler with 5% crit chance and 25% carapace damage. For the dueling sword, you want to have carapace maniac with low mobility and uncanny strike and thrust, as I mentioned. Then, and this is the Mark IV dueling sword, by the way, and the Mark VI power sword. For the range weapon here, the plasma gun, of course. The plasma gun being just the premier veteran range weapon, super powerful, wallops so hard, just absolutely collapse pretty much everything. If you're playing on any non-havoc difficulties, this is an instant kill on most smaller elites, you know. It just wipes them out in a huge long line. We want to put Carapace and Unyielding on here, the two types of enemies that do not die in one hit. This also augments our damage to Crushers and Maulers and Plasma Gunners, who all have Carapace heads, so that is quite helpful there. Low charge rate, because we are not ever charging this weapon. To point that out, you will only spam light attacks with this weapon, so never charge the right click. Then for Blessings, Rising Heat and Gets Hot, which is going to give us increased critical chance and critical attack damage, and just base strength, which is damage and stagger. For Curios, triple toughness across the board with stamina regen, combat ability regen, and revive speed for our allies. On the talent side of things, we're going to take both Out for Blood and Confirm Kill at the top, then go into one motion, allowing us to pull off that plasma gun a little bit faster. Close Order Drill into the Crack Grenades, because they are the most powerful grenades, which will allow us to counter both bosses and Crusher packs. Then we'll take Superiority Complex, Iron Will, and into Field Improvisation, which it's just a very, very powerful talent right now. Catch Your Breath into Survivalist, and then we'll take both Demolition Stockpile and Grenade Tinkerer, which is going to push our crack grenades up to that 175% damage mark, which will allow them to instant kill lots more Crushers at higher difficulties, especially when you're into that Havoc range. Over here on the left, we'll go range damage, precision strikes, and 25% ammo. In the middle, we are going to take Demolition Team, Tactical Awareness, Toughness Boost, and Bring It Down, or 20% damage versus Ogres and Monstrosities. And on the right, we're going to take the Melee Damage Boost, Reciprocity, Desperado, Agile Engagement, Skirmisher, Exploit Weakness, and finally Weapon Specialist with no additional nodes here. So this could be a little seen as a little bit controversial, but personally, I feel that getting this extra 20% damage versus Ogres and Monstrosities is quite nice. It's a big deal. These are high health targets, and 25 toughness is also quite a big deal. What we're losing out on by not equipping one of these nodes here is On Your Toes, which replenishes 20% toughness every time we swap back and forth between our melee and range. However, we are generating an absolutely fuck ton of toughness already, as long as we are getting kills on elites and specialists, which should be pretty freaking easy already. And then, of course, we are getting 5% per second through Catch Your Breath, and of course, we also have Shout. So I think we are pretty good on toughness generation. Then the other thing here that we're losing out on is Always Prepared, which will slowly reload your magazine over time. But for the plasma gun, you really only have to reload this gun maybe 2 or 3 times during an entire game, because you can shoot about 34 times before reloading. So what you want to do in practice is get into combat and then go to town in melee, and every 5 or 6 seconds or so, swap over to your range weapon, shoot 2 or 3 shots, get a couple kills, swap back to your melee, rinse and repeat, and keep those swapping back and forth so you can get the full benefit out of Agile Engagement. And also make certain that you are sprinting and sliding everywhere you go so that you can keep Skirmisher buff up, and getting those crits in melee routinely so that you can keep the Exploit Weakness buff up. And that will boost your damage quite considerably. You'll keep your damage up times very, very high. Your damage will be Omega scaled. Then you can also just flex on enemies with incredibly short voice of command cooldowns and hurling grenades everywhere, and just generally be as overpowered as the veteran can possibly be. And I hope you enjoy watching some of this gameplay footage, and I hope you enjoy this build yourself. Remember, guys, if you made it to the end here, like and subscribe if you are being helped by these sort of videos and you want to see more of me in your algorithm, and I'll see you next time. Mr. E out. Bye-bye.
Falling back Rusher.
Toy soldiers of yours out in these streets. That's smart. Be right for flanking.
Dog, right, thank you.
Weapons up!
Ready to drop low.
I think it's probably its purpose. Big purple crusher coming in. Push blind, punch blind.
Dropping. Keep me nose there.
He was in the hall. Yeah, help it. Nice.
Going on far right.
Lose control. I will not.
I want to see some proper soldiering from here on out. Understand?
Please, do keep giving orders. That way I can keep ignoring them.
Captain soon.
Shotgunner!
Probably Captain and boss. Bosses. Rid of this. Is it clear then?
Ogre, yeah. Just to our low right block.
I need this hard focus thing. Which I'm okay with.
Captain. Yeah, bring him back this corner.
I'm gonna crush him. Put a wasp on him. Here we go. Goodbye. Gunners, huh? Oh, we got a, okay.
Bring the big ammo back in the back.
Oh, that'll be nice. Spins. We can go back. We can probably. So just watch out for this bomber and trapper out here.
Brenda on me. She switched off.
Now she's on me. Please don't put me in some stupid place. Fucking special move that with. Come here. Good boy.
Watch the mines and smoke.